I've recently started a series where I'm talking about my hysterectomy journey, what I expected, what I didn't expect, how it went, blah, blah, blah. I found that in my part one, I answered a lot about the surgery itself, why I had it, what it was, blah, blah, blah. This time, got my little trusty questions, more about like the post op rather than pre-surgery, surgery itself, that kind of things. Also, just because it's the internet, I do need to do a little disclaimer. This is not medical advice in any means. It is simply me sharing my journey, what I went through, what I expected, didn't expect, that kind of thing. Please do not take this as medical advice. I have zero medical experience. So yeah, just keep that in mind. How is your pain 12 days post-op, and what did recovery feel like during those 12 days? I'm actually not too bad. So I finished my painkillers a couple of days ago, and I'm now just on Panadol and Nurofen, which is a lot more manageable. I feel like you can feel a bit yucky when you have strong painkillers. My tummy gets a bit yuck and you get a bit groggy, and yeah, I don't like the feeling, to be honest. Initially, the pain was actually pretty pretty intense. I significantly underestimated what it would feel like and how I would feel post surgery. I think because I've had two cesareans, I kind of expected the pain to be similar. In ways it was. However, it was a different type of pain because it's more abdominal. I had keyhole surgery. It was just very different. I also did 1 week post op end up back in hospital for a night. I had been experiencing a little bit of pain. I had a blood clot, things like that. So I had to go back in. They did some bloods. I did a CT scan. Turns out it was all sort of okay. It was just like a bit of an infection brewing. So I was on a couple of rounds of IV antibiotics for a little bit. I think I had 2 within 24 hours. Which was enough to be able to then discharge me, and I got to go home about lunchtime the following day. What does a normal day look like for you right now? Very boring. I wish that I could say life's back to normal, things are happening. Not gonna lie, I may have been a little bit naive and thought that would be the case. No, I significantly underestimated what the recovery would be like and feel like. And my husband was off work for the first week and a half, which was really handy, obviously, with everything. And he's back to work this week. Fortunately, I'm very, very, very lucky that my parents live close and are able to help us out a lot during this process. But yeah, for example, my day yesterday, I woke up at about 5:30 in the morning. Mum life. My mum came up and was looking after the girls for me. About, I'm going to say 8 a.m., I needed to have a sleep, which might sound ridiculous, but I was in pain. I wouldn't say significant pain, but I was in pain, and I just did not feel good. I was so tired. I was really struggling, which is unusual. I've quickly fed is my mum took the girls down to their house, and I slept from about 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. pretty much. I think I was awake for a little bit in between, but I was just exhausted. And then in the afternoon, I had to go get a blood test. I had to do a few like bits and bobs like that, go to the chemist, things like that. But the fatigue has really, really rocked me. What has been the hardest part so far? This one's interesting because I feel like there's a few things that are obviously going to be really difficult within this process. For me, one of the hardest things is how immobile I actually am. I significantly underestimated how I would be feeling and how I would be able to move because of my two cesareans that I've had. Whilst that was difficult, in itself, I was able to get up and sort of move around and start to do a few bits and pieces by now in terms of where I'm at with this surgery. So this one has been a lot harder. I, even 2 days ago, was still struggling to walk, which I don't think is normal, but I was having different pains and I was very uncomfortable. Whereas today, I'm moving a lot better. So my mobility has been very difficult. I definitely underestimated how that would feel, which I also find can make me very frustrated because not being able to do your day-to-day tasks, like I can't bend down still. So you drop something, you can't pick it up. Also, how quickly you fatigue. So the other night I was feeling not too bad. And I was like, oh, might make some dinner because I love cooking. Not very good at it, but I love doing it. I think it took me maybe like 15 minutes to make it. And I was absolutely shattered after it. I had to sit down. So the fatigue side of things as well, definitely underestimated. This one, this one's a bit hard to answer. I feel like this is going to be a very personal question. So I just want to kind of like put something out there before I answer this one. So if you don't want to talk about it, just skip through. Did you grieve at all? How did you cope with grief? Not gonna lie, I did. I did have to grieve, which I know sounds a bit silly because it's not like I'm dying, but I always envisioned myself having 3 kids. I feel like my grief was very early on, pretty much as soon as I was sort of with it in the hospital after the birth of Isabel. I spoke to Elliot a lot about it at the time, which obviously helped, but having that choice taken away from you of whether you can have that third child or not was very difficult. I still get a bit about it, but I think for me, what I have to do is I have to look at the positives. I don't even have to, I actually just do, because I don't know, it's just what you do. I actually don't think I would cope with 3 kids now that I've got 2. I think 3 would just be like, whew, so busy. Like it's so hard with 2. I don't know how people do more, but good on you if you do. Yeah, having that choice taken away from you. And yes, technically I could have a third and run the gauntlet and hope everything goes well. But so I feel like I grieved early on postpartum, between everything happening with the cesarean, well, finding out then, to now, it's like nearly 8 months in between. So I feel like I've had a lot of time to process what happened. I don't think I'll ever understand why it happened, but I kind of don't really need to know as well. Like the universe had its plan. It's what it is. Yeah, I feel like the main thing was having that choice taken away from you in terms of what I envisioned, what I thought I wanted, to now my reality of not having it. But again, like I said, you got to look at the positives. I have literally the most beautiful girls. They're incredible. They're healthy, they're happy. Some people don't even get that. So yeah, okay, I can't have my third, but I've got 2 incredible little girls. So, can't be greedy. Ooh, this one is interesting. I never really thought of this question. And then someone asked me the other day, did you feel like your identity has changed or been impacted? Um, Apparently, this is very common, but I fortunately haven't experienced it. But a lot of women find that when they have a hysterectomy, you can often feel as though your identity of a woman has been taken from you, or it's an adjusting period. I'm only 12 days post-op, so I don't exactly know. Maybe it'll hit me later, don't know. To me, I really don't care. I know that probably sounds weird, but I'm still me. I just don't have reproductive organs. So I think if you let it consume you, maybe, or if you really use that to identify as who you are, I'm not sure. No, fortunately, it hasn't impacted me in that way. Have your hormones felt different? Not yet, thankfully. I don't have to do HRT, thankfully, because I kept my ovaries. If I had have removed my ovaries, it would have put me into perimenopause or like premenopause, which I would have to have HRT for the rest of my life, as well as going through menopause. And to be honest, I don't want to be doing that. Not at 31. No, thank you. I mean, women really get the raw end of the stick, don't we? So far, everything hormonally has been good. Hopefully, it stays that way. We shall see. Okay, so that's all I have time for today. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you have any other questions you want answered or anything, please let me know. Happy to answer anything. Open book. Yeah, but thank you for watching. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. I can waffle on sometimes. But anyway,